let's move across the pond to England. The England
All disappointing
pyramid seasons are done. For the most part,
Oh, sorry.
we're
I
done
was gonna say all
here.
disappointing
Luton
seasons
Town
for
has
all three
officially
of our
been promoted.
teams.
Oh, what?
Yes. But.
Oh, for three of us, yes. But for Championship to Premier League, Luton Town has been promoted officially as of a couple days ago. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what they need to do to stay up. Because it's going to be hard. They are definitely the favorites to go back down. What do they need to do to stay up? What routes do they need to take? Do they take the Nottingham Forest route and just bye?
Definitely not the Nottingham Forest
Do
route.
anything else? You guys tell me.
When you brought up the topic, I was like thinking about what they should do. I was like, definitely not
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest. Yes, Nottingham Forest stayed up, but barely. And a lot of those players didn't even play. And they had like the biggest squad in the Premier League. I remember we were doing a video on it, and we found out it was like 40 something players on their squad. Ridiculous. And I feel like Luton has a decent squad.
Damn.
I mean, for the most part, I feel like they got that belief in them too. So I feel like personally, if I was the manager, if I was the board, I would invest in defense. Because let's be real, like, you know, the smaller clubs that come up to the Premier League, that they don't really offer a whole lot in attacking wise, so they got to be strong defensively. And I feel like they'll face the bigger clubs, and I feel like they need to be strong defensively. So I'd invest in some center backs, right backs, left backs, some center CDMs, maybe a keeper, maybe brand new keeper, because I feel like keeper might be important in the Prem. I feel like if you get yeah.
I mean, I think they're gonna keep Ethan Horvath. He's on loan. They have from Nottingham Forest actually. He's on loan. There's a buy option, and they're probably gonna keep him because he was excellent in the championship. He wasn't talked about at all, but he was excellent over there. I think
the nice thing about keepers though is there's some quality keepers in the Prem that are like
he's gonna be
backups
solid.
that will go on loan, and they can save money by getting like Dean Henderson maybe because he's on loan at Nottingham, but he's gonna go back to United, so you can get him play for Luton. Like I feel like they got to shore up the back, make sure it's solid, and then maybe over time they can build up. Because I genuinely feel like they could stay up. I feel like the story they have is literally a Cinderella Hollywood story of being able to climb up from non-league all the way to the Premier League. So I feel like I think they got it to stay up for at least a season. I feel, but I feel like if they get through a season, I feel like they'll be better and maybe mid-table side. I feel they could be after the first season. Yeah, I have some faith in them. I could
after
be
the first season,
2 years time from now. I'm gonna get clipped. Okay. Me saying this, and they're in like League One again or something like that. But just complete downfall. But I think if they make the right financial decisions, I know this is really broad, but like genuinely, we have no idea what their targets are in terms of this season. They're too busy celebrating getting promoted, rightfully so. So you can only speculate. Players. Also, you don't know their transfer budget either. It's assuming to be smaller.
True. I mean, yeah, we don't know the transfer budget. They are going to get 210 million, I think, for being promoted, which is a lot of money. They do have to spend around 10 million to upgrade the stadium to meet Premier League standards. Other than that, though, I think it's a free game. They can go on. Diego, give me your thoughts.
I know this is kind of a general idea, but like honestly, just buying the right players for the right price. There are plenty of good players in other leagues that will not cost you 40 million. I'm looking at you, Morgan Gibbs-White, and that can still fill in that role.
Morgan Gibbs-White,
who in all honesty has been actually pretty good for Nottingham, but not 40 million good. But again, that's another topic. But basically, like you can get good players for 20 million, maybe less, from other leagues. If you do the right amount of scouting, the right amount of research, and fill in those holes that maybe you need a midfielder because your current one is a little older, a little weaker, or you need a defender, whatever. You can get those positions if you do enough research, and you don't have to shell out so much money to the point where you're basically like overpaying for like 5 or 6 different positions. That doesn't have to happen. I think smart business, smart. Like just kind of looking at your options. You don't have to be a Brighton and already look at like young talent. Like you can do that once you get nicely settled in the Premier League. but you want to settle yourself in first. So you got to build a
Yeah.
strong squad. You got to have at least a few good options off the bench. Depth is important. Reliable option off the bench. But you also the people who win the that playoff championship, there's like one of the
Hmm.
highest amount of money you like the amount you earn
Yeah.
from winning a
In
final
football. In
in
football, yeah.
football. So with that, you have plenty of money to work with. Just be smart about it.
Yeah.
Don't do a Nottingham Forest. Even though they stayed up, like I just said, there was no way that the
Yeah.
way they went about that was the right way to go about that. I do not
Agreed.
think that was the way.
And for defense, they have the right back is Cody Drama, whatever. He's on loan from Leeds. And he's been solid for them all year, or since I think he came in the January transfer window. But he's been solid, and they want to keep him. So that's already an addition right there because he helped this playoff final, this the journey to the playoff and the playoff final. Leeds
Yeah,
really want to keep him, especially because they're going back down the championship, and they know he can do good in the championship. But I doubt he would want to leave now. Burnley also want him, but if they can keep him, that's a really good option. But I think too, for me, I mean, we've all seen the memes about the memes and the headlines about the stadium, right? Kenilworth
yeah,
Road. I mean, that's everyone knows. Everyone knows because all that's been talked about. It's the like this is the new stadium in the Premier League. It's surprising, whatever. It's cool. I love it. But I think that's one of the biggest advantages too. Is everyone says how hard it is to play there. Um, everyone, and they could use that. If you can use that as a home advantage, like that'd be huge. Arsenal's going to be scared. I saw the statistic. Apparently, they haven't won a
Damn.
single time at Kenilworth Road in 10 trips. They've made 10 trips to Kenilworth Road and have never won once.
Still.
Um, I mean, this goes back to the 50s, but even then, like Chelsea played in Luton. I think it was last season, and we won, but it was hard. It wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be. It's a hard stadium to play at. So if they can use that to get even just draws, even just at 1 point, that'll be huge.
yeah, yeah,
Because they are planning to build a new stadium by 2026. So if you can use the stadium now to stay in for the next 2-3 years, and then by then you're a set Premier League side, move into your new one, then you don't have to rely on that as much. But it's going to be key. It's going to be an important part, and I think it's going to be enough to keep them up. Personally, um, we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see the teams go. I'm excited to watch the first game, the first home game at least, and see how these players react and how the fans react. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I don't
I
think
got
there's
nothing
a
against
single
Luton
fan who wants them to go down.
yet.
To be honest, I think exactly everyone wants them to stay up. Yeah, exactly until they beat all three of us or we get a draw. um, but I like that. I mean, yeah, defense is correct. Buying the right players is correct. So, I mean, those two fitting together. Home form is going to be important.